So today I want to go over with you a problem that I had while developing a Django app and just kind of wanted to go with you on what problems that I faced and how I came across it. So I wanted to create an app here that essentially allows you to log in with a social account using Google and GitHub. The Google is going to be for those who don't have a GitHub account because they are not programmers or they don't have anything to, store into their remote repository. So the general users are going to use Google, while the programmers or people who are actually use GitHub, they can go ahead and use this one to log into this specific Django app. And another bonus to that is I want them to use either one of these to access their accounts and kind of be routed into that one user rather than having one separate account for Google and one separate account for GitHub. And on top of that, I want them to have access to whatever their username is going to be if once they sign in with these two. I want them to be able to use that username and log in with a password as well if they want to set that up. So if I have a Google username of Ryan, then once I click on that, I get the Ryan back and the app will say, welcome Ryan. But I also want to be able to not just click on this one, but type in a password and with the username in order for me to sign up and make sure that it's in the same account as the one that I logged in with Google. So while I was doing this, I kind of was doing like the brute force method or whatnot. I was trying to see how everything connected. So I set up the Google and the GitHub social accounts. And so once I go ahead and log in with it, and this is just kind of like I just don't have a home page set up yet, but essentially I got a successful authentication and it's taking me to the profile page, which I don't have set up yet. But let's go ahead and take a look at the admin right now and go to users. So right now, this is the account that I signed in with for Google. And as you can see, my username is Ryan, first name, last name here, but I don't have an email address for this Google account. And what's more is if I go to the social accounts here, which basically tracks all of my social authentication logins, here it is. And here is my UID, but there is no information here about emails. Even in this extra data that I get, it has my ID, it has my name, given name, family name, but it doesn't have any data about my email addresses. And that's problematic because if I want to set up like a signal or something and create like a receiver saying right just before I log in, I want to be able to capture that data, whatever Google sends me back. I want to filter out the email and save that. So it'll probably be something like email equals request.data.email and then email.save, some sort of thing like that with connecting with the user. So that was my initial approach because, some people have mentioned that on Stack Overflow, but from what I'm seeing right now, I don't have access to that email. And so I went ahead and looked at the documentation for all-auth and I went to the configuration page and I looked at the social account settings here. And one thing that caught my eye was this one right over here, this attribute called social account email required. So it says the user is required to hand over an email address when signing up using a social account. And that's kind of what I want. And it defaults to the account email required. This one is essentially saying whatever this setting is, make the social account that setting. And this one is, I believe it's set to false so that you don't need to give an email whenever you're signing up. So what I went ahead is went to the settings and I just turned this into true. And then I set up my backend and all of the things like that. And then I ran across an issue where I needed to enable the email backend settings. This one essentially allows Django to send users emails and be able to talk from the backend to the user's emails. So I also enabled this. And so you just need these two. So, and just before I do anything else, I'm just gonna comment that back and log out. Go to login, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go to GitHub and sign in with the GitHub too, since I already logged in with the Google one. And I just want to show you what it looks like. So as you can see, I go to the users. I have two separate users here. One is for Google and one is for GitHub. When I really just want one, and I just want one with the email address included. The social account, it doesn't matter too much, but again, the provider GitHub, if I go here and go to the extra data, the email that I'm getting back is null. So it's not giving me back any information about the data unless I specifically tell it to. And using this setting right over here, it basically makes Django get us that email. So this is kind of doing the work for us rather than us having to set up an adapter or a signal or any utils or anything like that. Just turn these on and let's go ahead and see what we're going to be looking at. So I'm just going to delete these two. Yes, I'm sure. Go to the users, delete these two. And let's just make sure that our application now is going to be working as we want it to. So now I'm going to go into Google, sign in, click on my account, and I get routed to this page. It says sign up. You are about to use your Google account to log into your website. As a final step, please complete the following form. Type in an address. So I'm going to type in my address and a username. I'll just put Ryan. Sign up. And once I signed up, I get a 200 status code with a 404 because I don't have the profile page. But essentially, I got that done. And now let's go ahead and look at the admin. So I'm just going to type into my super user and go to users, and voila. So this is my Google account that I just signed in with, and here's my email. And you won't see the email in the social account because that's not where that email is supposed to live. It's supposed to be here. And so now what we want to do is make sure that we can also log in with the GitHub and have access to this specific user. So I'm going to go ahead and log out, log back in, except I'm going to go use the GitHub this time. And once I sign in, I am prompted to this sign up page again. And let's actually try using my email once more. The username, I'll just leave it this for now, even though it's supposed to be Ryan. The email part is the important part here. So once I sign up, it says an account already exists with this with this email address. Please sign in into that account first and then connect to your GitHub account. So it's basically saying you already have an account with this, and what you're trying to do is create a new user with this username and password where this email already exists. So instead of using this page, go ahead and sign in with your GitHub, or if you used your forms here with the regular username and password, go into your profile that you're supposed to set up and then route or add your GitHub that way. So let's go back to the Google here because I haven't created a password for my user for this Google yet, and go into this social here. So what I want to do is go to social, and it gives me more options. Login cancel, login error. I want to go to login connections. And so over here, I can see that this is my username. I have this Google account added, and I can add more third-party app accounts. So I'm going to go and click on GitHub here and then log in through here. And now I have these two accounts linked. Now, whenever I sign in with either Google or GitHub, I'll be having access to this same user. And if I want to add a password to it because I have initially logged in with a social account and didn't sign up with the user password combo, I can go ahead and do so with other endpoints like password reset. And this is where I would, put in my email, get that sent through my email inbox, go ahead and click on like the password link, just how you would typically reset a password with any other apps. So yeah, this is how I kind of got around to fixing my initial issue of making sure that all of these social accounts can be managed by one single user and not have to worry about having multiple accounts per social logins. I hope you found this useful, and if not, a little bit interesting. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.